I'm going to talk about Usagi Drop. If you already watched this anime, you know what I'm talking about. Usagi Drop, or how I like to call it, the man who raised his future wife. As I said, it's another controversial one. Honestly, I love this anime when it came out. Okay, the story is beautiful. I thought Daikishi was a great guy for what he did. He took in a girl no one wanted and raised her as his own daughter, only later on to turn around and think, why don't we get married? Why don't we have a child? It's crazy. What's up with this? As I like to say, what goes through this mangaka mind when they write these stories? It started well. People loved it because, as I said, this guy took in a girl no one wanted. Yeah, he took her in, and all of a sudden, it's just like, you're old enough now to be my girlfriend or my wife or whatever he was thinking. So, Usagi Drop is a beautiful story. If you want to know how things end, you can read the manga. If you are not interested in knowing how Daikishi is going to feel about Rin later on, don't read the manga, or read and don't finish it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. As I said, it's controversial. Usagi Drop, or Bonnie Drop, is a slice of life and a coming of age manga written and illustrated by Yumi Unita. I couldn't find a lot about this mangaka, but by the name, I'm guessing it's a woman. It's really hard to tell if someone is a man or a woman in Japan because their name tend to be mixed. Like you can see a male Megumi, female Akira, male Akira. So I'm thinking maybe Yumi is also mixed, but if it's really a woman who wrote this story, I'd say she's bold, okay? She's really bold. Just as I was saying, the story started well, heartwarming, gives you a good feeling. This man, 30 years old, takes in a girl no one wants, raised her as his own daughter. He became a single dad for a girl he didn't even know. And then when she's old enough, he turns around and says, yeah, we look good together. Like, really? So that's why I'm thinking if it's a woman who wrote this story, she's bold. Most people didn't like the ending at all. Okay? Just like I said, watch the anime if you don't like that type of relationship because it's like, it reminds me of another anime I watched when I was a kid in the 90s, Daddy Long Legs. I love that anime, okay? When I was growing up, I wanted the same love story. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. 28-year-old man in love with a 14-year-old girl he took care of. He paid for her study, okay? This man met this girl. She's an orphan. She was a kid. She was what at the time? 7 or 8? Sent her to the best schools, and then when she was old enough, it's just like, I'm in love with you. Back then, I was just like, oh my God, I want this type of love story. Did I get it? Not really. But, but I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I just felt like two people were in love. And it felt normal for Judy Abbott to fall in love with that man. First, it was her friend's uncle. And then later she found out that he's the guy who's been taking care of her since she was a child. Was it really love, or was she just grateful because he took care of her? She's an orphan. Without that man, she wouldn't have the future she had later on. So maybe she was feeling grateful, but I was a kid at the time. I was what, 12, 13 when I watched Daddy Long Legs for the first time. I'm just like, oh my God, I want this type of love story. I want a man like this. It's only when I rewatch it in 2020 during the lockdown, I was just like, oh my God, there's something wrong with this story. How is it possible? So he raised his future wife. Same thing happens in Usagi Drop. And this is even more shocking because the girl is like 5, 6. She's very young. So I'm going to get into it. As I was saying, It's a slice of life coming of age manga written and illustrated by Yumi Unita. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. I didn't find much about her. Her or him. There's not even a Wikipedia page. And it's actually a josei. It's not a shoujo. I was thinking maybe a shoujo, but it's a josei. The manga was published from 2005 to 2011. The anime aired from June to September 2011. It's just 11 episodes. There is also a live action. As I was saying, the story follows Daikishi Kawashi. This man is 30 years old. He's a salaryman, like you see many of them in Japan. He's living a peaceful life. He's single, doesn't have a girlfriend. When he gets a call that his grandfather passed away. So he goes back home. He's on his mom's side, yeah? His mom's dad passed away. He goes back home for the funeral, and when he gets there, he sees a little girl. Ask his mom, who's that girl? His mom was just like, that's your grandfather, illegitimate child. Illegitimate. Illegitimate child. He was shocked. The man was 79, and this girl is like, what, 5, 6? He was like, really? Are you serious? He had a child? Where's the mom? His mom said that, I don't know where she is. She just dropped the child and ran off. Then after the funeral, they were talking. He asked who's going to take care of the girl. No one wanted to take care of the girl because it's an embarrassment. Yeah? I actually experienced this in my family. My mom raised a child my dad had with his mistress. He's still with my mom to this day, even though my dad passed away years ago and his own mom passed away. My mom doesn't have any obligation to have him with her, but she's still looking after him. Yes, it happens. And when I saw his mom's reaction, like, why should I raise this child? I've made enough sacrifices already. Do you know how hard it is to raise a child? At my age, I can't raise a child anymore. It reminded me of my mom. I don't think if in her shoes, I would have done the same thing. I want to take a moment to ask you to like and subscribe for more content and let me know what you think of Usagi Drop. Since no one wanted a child, he's just like, I'm going to take her with me. Everyone was really shocked. They told him, do you know how hard it is to raise a child? You are single. You've never had a child before. He said, I'm taking her home with me. So he took Rin with him. And that's how his life started as a single dad. He made a lot of sacrifices for this girl. He really cared for her. You can feel the love, yeah? He really cared for this girl. That's why I'm saying it's such a beautiful and heartwarming story. I don't know what the editor and the mangaka were thinking when they made that ending. If you ask anyone, if you even say, oh, I'm watching Usagi Drop, the people who watch it and read the manga are going to be like, really? Are you serious? Daikishi is going to make a lot of sacrifices for a child. If you know anything about work life in Japan, there is no balance, okay? They don't have a balance. They don't have work-life balance like here. You can leave the office at the same time every day. I go to work in the morning, I start at 9. By 5, I'm home. Yeah, but Japan, it's not like that. So when he became a parent, even though he sent her to nursery, he was always running late. So he spoke to his boss to say that, can you just transfer me to a department where I won't have to work evening? People were shocked. Why would you do that? It's like ending your career, isn't it? But he was willing to make those sacrifices because he decided to take care of Rin. And Rin became such a happy girl. When he first met her, she was kind of closed off, yeah? I think the fact that her mom didn't want her played a role. She didn't know who to trust. She felt like everything she did was making adults mad at her. But she just didn't understand. And staying with Daikishi really showed what a happy girl she was. Yeah, he always paid attention to her. Daikishi is going to raise Rin as his own child. Yeah, and he's going to make a lot of sacrifices. instead of making him just a single man who doesn't have a girlfriend. It's weird for a man his age to be single or not even have a girlfriend. I wish that when the single mother was introduced, he was going to have a romantic interest in her. Okay? Because the fact that he stays single throughout the story meant deep down he was hoping that once Rain reached a legal age, he's going to turn her into a girlfriend or a wife. And when Rain turns legal, all of a sudden it feels like falling in love. I think that's where they kind of got the story wrong. Or if he at least dated someone when Rain was very young. He was seeing someone, relationships don't always work out. I was in a relationship for years with a man who even had kids, but it didn't work out, and now I'm single. Okay? I understand that. It happens all the time. It's just that what gives the ending kind of a dark turn. It's like deep down he knew from the beginning that this girl, she's going to be mine one day. So I'm raising my future wife or future girlfriend. Usagi Drop is a heartwarming story until you know the ending. Once you find out what happens in the end, you won't feel like it's that great of a story anymore. I really love how he stepped up. Okay, he said, "You don't want this little girl. I'm going to take care of her because she's a child my grandfather left." I think that's how he felt. Okay, she saw her as family. He was really annoyed that women in his family, even his mom, didn't want to take care of her. She's a child. She didn't do anything wrong. It's not her fault if she was born. His grandfather was irresponsible, and the mom is even more irresponsible for abandoning a child. We all know how it is in Japan. Appearances are very important. Okay, they don't like to ruin their reputation. They always avoid things that bring shame. So that little girl was a reminder of what their grandfather did, and it was embarrassing to them. That's why no one wanted to take care of Rain. But he stepped up. He was just like, she's just a little girl. She didn't do anything wrong. And I was like, oh my God, Daikishi, you're such a great guy. I really like you. I'm just like, oh my God, this is a real human being. Okay, he has empathy. He's a great guy. And then I read the manga. I'm just like, oh my God. So this one had a plan all along.